Hi there, my name is Marley and welcome to my November TBR. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about all of my reading plans for the month of November. I think I have about 8 books here that I plan to read. So let's just quickly go through them. First of all, as always, I always do a special themed reading vlog. This month, I'm going to be reading 5 books for a special reading vlog. I'm not going to say the theme here, but feel free to guess in the comments if you think you know what it is. I feel like it's a little hard to guess this month as they're all kind of random, but I'm definitely curious to see if you guys can figure it out if you're someone I haven't told yet, obviously. First we have The Girls Are Never Gone by Sarah Glenn Marsh, and I believe this is a young adult horror novel. So we're kind of keeping the horror stuff going into November from October. Basically, this is about a girl named Daisy who has a murder podcast or true crime podcast, which is very popular as we know in books these days. And she is a skeptic when it comes to the paranormal, but she decides to go investigate this case where it seems like there is a paranormal entity. So she starts to investigate because she does not believe the stuff that goes on here is supernatural. She thinks it's a real life person. So she is going to get to the bottom of it. This sounds really good because I love a horror where it's like a mystery between if it's paranormal or if it's not. And I love a character that is very investigative. I don't know if that's a word, who's really into investigating, such as Pip from A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I just think reading from those characters is really fun. So this one sounds very good, very interesting. Then we have Arsenic and Adobo, and this is by Mia P. Manansala. I've heard a little bit of mixed things about this, but it is a pretty popular cozy mystery book. It sounds like it would be very similar to Dial A for Aunties, but it has more to do with food because it follows this character named Lila. She's just coming off this horrible breakup, I think moves back home or whatever, and is tasked with helping save her family's restaurant. So while she's working at this restaurant, her ex comes to eat there and he ends up dying. And then she is like the main suspect, I think because she's his ex and worked at the restaurant that he died at. So makes sense they would suspect her. So she is kind of forced to investigate on her own to prove that she is not the killer and to find out who the real killer is. So sounds entertaining, has some Dial A for Aunties vibes and some Finlay Donovan's Killing It vibes. The 2 other cozy mystery books I've read. So we'll see how it is. We'll see how I feel because as I said, I've seen some people like it and seen some people be really disappointed with it. So we will see. Then we have Blood Sugar, and this is by Sascha Rothchild. I've been really excited to read this. It is a thriller that I've heard really good things about, especially from Haley Hughes, who I really trust as a thriller reviewer. It's about a female serial killer who has killed multiple people. That's what serial killer means, duh. And then her husband dies, but she didn't kill her husband. But they are suspecting her. So she's trying to prove that she didn't really kill her husband while also trying to prove she didn't kill the people she's actually killed. And that's all I really know about it. I think I have heard that it's more of like a character study on this woman, and it's called Blood Sugar because her husband was diabetic. I'm diabetic, so I'm pumped. Next, I want to read The Mistletoe Motive by Chloe Liese. She is a romance author I've heard good things about, and this is obviously a Christmas romance. So we're, transitioning from Halloween vibes to Christmas vibes this month. This sounds really fun and kind of like a classic, maybe a Hallmark movie, classic rom-com with lots of tropes. But we're following these 2 characters, Jonathan and Gabriella, and they both work at this bookstore. One of them is really into Christmas and is more of the sunshine type of character, and the other guy hates Christmas and is more like a bah humbug type of character. Their bookstore is not doing very well, so they know that there's going to be some cuts and one of them is probably going to get fired soon. So they do this competition with each other to see who gets the most sales, and then whoever gets the least amount of sales and loses their little competition will have to quit. And so that sort of decides in a fair way which one of them is going to have to leave this job. But both of them don't want to leave, obviously. So it has, enemies to lovers, rivals, whatever, hating game energy. So I'm excited. This sounds really cute. And lastly, we have Sweetblood, and this is by Pete Hautman. This is a little bit of a weird one. I mean, I love the cover. Let's just talk about that at first. As a vampire lover, love that. This is about a teenage girl named Lucy who believes that she's a vampire because she believes that vampires are based on diabetics and she's diabetic. So she kind of thinks she's a vampire, and then she meets this like real vampire in an online chat room, gets involved with him, and then just gets caught up in this sort of vampire life. I don't know. Stay tuned for the vlog to find out more about this one, but I'm very intrigued to find out more about this. Then for a new release that I want to read that I'm really excited about, it is Bloodmarked by Tracy Deonn, and this is the sequel to Legendborn, which I read I think 2 years ago now. It's been a while since the first book, but I really loved it. This is a YA fantasy book about this girl named Bree. She basically gets caught up in this secret society that is based around Arthurian legend, so like Arthur, Merlin, Lancelot. So if you're into that kind of stuff, you should check this out because I love that. I loved the show BBC Merlin growing up, and it's just really fun to read about this mythology in like a different way. But there's also like monsters that the secret society has to defeat, so it also really gives City of Bones vibes and Mortal Instruments vibes, which is also one of my favorite things. So this series is just great. I'm a really big fan of the romance that's in it, and I think the only thing I didn't love about this book was that it was hard to follow all the mythology, and it was kind of confusing and not done in the best way. But I think now that this is the sequel book and the world is already kind of established for us, I think it will be a lot better experience. So I'm pretty hopeful about this one, and I might do a specific reading vlog for it. Then there's obviously the Buzzwordathon, which I do every month, and this month's challenge is to read a book with a word that ends in ing or ing. So what I plan to read for this prompt is Kate in Waiting by Becky Albertali. She's the famous author of Simon versus the Homo Sapien Agenda, and I've read a couple of her other books. This one sounds cute. It's about two teenagers in high school who have this, you know, really nice friendship, but they always tend to crush on the same guys. And then when this guy comes to their school, then they both have these really big crushes on them. I think it starts some drama in their friendship. They also are both in the drama club, so I've heard that this is great if you're like a drama kid and into that kind of scene. I was not a drama kid, but I am into like watching theater, not really participating. So I think this one should be a cute kind of like fluff, typical YA contemporary. And then the last one to talk about is They're Watching You by Chelsea Ichaso, and this is actually an arc that I was approved for a few months ago now. It comes out in January, so I really need to get to it, but honestly I am really excited because it sounds amazing. It kind of sounds like my perfect book. I don't request a lot from NetGalley, which you might know if you follow me, but this was one I was really intrigued by the cover, and when I read the description, like, I'm very intrigued by the description. I'm just gonna read it out. I'm just gonna read it out to you. It's been 2 weeks since Polly St. James went missing. The police, the headmistress of Tory Wells Academy, and even her parents have ruled her a runaway, but not Marin, her best friend and roommate. She knows Polly had a secret that she was about to share with Marin before she disappeared, something to do with the elite, ultra-rich crowd at Tory Wells, which sounds like a lot of YA thrillers, but I love that. Then Marin finds an envelope hidden among Polly's things, an invitation to the Game Masters Society. Do not tell anyone, it says. Marin is certain her classmates in the society know the truth about what happened to Polly, though it's no easy feat to join. Once Marin's made it through the treacherous initiation, she discovers a world she never knew existed within her school, where society members compete in high-stakes games for unheard-of rewards, Ivy League connections, privileges, favors. This sounds great. Like Mary Shelley vibes, competing in these games, inheritance games, like... But Marin's been drawn into a different game. For every win, she'll receive a clue about Polly. And as Marin keeps winning, she begins to see just how powerful the society's game is. Bigger and deadlier than she ever imagined. They see, they know, they control, and they kill. So, if you guys know me, if you guys watched my recent video about YA thrillers, you know that sounds perfect for me. So really hope I can get to that. I'll probably have at least one more book on my TBR for my book club, but we have not discussed what it will be quite yet, I don't think. So this is my TBR this month. Let me know what you guys think. If you've read any of these books, if you think I would like them, and subscribe if you have not already, of course, to see my reviews on all these books. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I will catch you in my next video. Bye.